This one reframe stops you from dimming your energy. And often it's the energy that attracts other people into your world. So it's the one that you want to be the most alive because it's how people first come to know you. I call it the red frequency, and I'm doing these human design reports because I use human design as a tool, specifically about the centers, the energy centers, because they have these beautiful flavors in them. And tuning into the ones that you have all the strengths in. And there's one of them that you're going to lead with. And that is probably something that feels so effortless to you that you don't even know it's a value, yet it is the thing that attracts other people. And we often stop it. So, don't downplay this. Don't downplay that feels so easy and effortless. I'm going to show you some examples of what I'm talking about here. So I'm doing these human design reports, and let me make myself a little bit smaller so you can see the whole thing. There we go. These human design reports, and it's based off of my own experience, my own studies. I've had a love affair for the past year with human design centers, and I was studying human design before that, but the centers are something that just have really stuck out to me. And then I met Jamie Palmer, who has a whole system based off of her research from doing numerous reports as well as, readings and working with clients and all the students who have come through her program. And so it was a no-brainer when I got certified to be able to give you her reports, her system, as well as layer on top my own information that I have on here. And I love living on LinkedIn. That's my primary channel. And I have a love affair with writing. So what I'm talking about in this particular case is that going back to that energy, I call it the red frequency. It's the thing that feels so effortless and so easy to you. You don't even realize maybe that you even do it. That's what I find with a lot of people that I've done these reports for. It's right there. They wrote it in the words. It's right there. They said it, but they're not really all that conscious of it. It's like, that's just something I just put on there. It's no big deal, but it is. It's the big deal that draws people in. And so that's what I've been doing in these reports. So I wanted to share kind of a behind the scenes of what it sort of looks like. So these are the 9 centers, and I think of them as energy. You can see right here with the descriptions that are on them, the different flavors. You don't even have to believe in human design to realize that you probably have some of these, and some of these might feel stronger in you than others. So you can use that as a way to think about what are the ones that feel the strongest, and then what are the ones that feel like they have almost no effort into doing. That's the ones that you lead with. That's it. And then you compare them up to the clients that are coming through, your ideal clients that you want to have, in addition, that you're servicing in your programs, the ones, maybe not the ones that you already have, the ones that you want. And you can start layering that into it. So it's a kind of a combination. What are the ones that you have the strengths in? What are the ones that feel so effortless, like they don't even seem like they're valuable to you? They are to others, but to you. And then of those, which one helps the people as they first come in? It creates this gentle pull for people to come in and to be in your world. When you get into your program, you're tackling a whole host of things. We're just talking about that initial attraction. Like when you're in a store and, you pick up a sweater, there's a table of them and someone says, "Oh, why'd you pick that color?" And you're like, "I don't know. It was just kind of calling my name. I just thought it would look good on me. What do you think?" That is the red frequency. That just thing that just, it drew me to it. And I don't have any words to explain it. So what I did here is, I'm going to walk you through a couple of them. So I did some content and I have an example so you can see how it changes. I have one in here that we're going to do. It's the same text, but I'm translating it into different centers if they were leading. So one of them is going to be this ajna, conceptualization, the teacher, the belief shifting, step by steps. So many of us are taught to write from the ajna, and it's not always the thing that gets you there. That was me. I was taught to do it that way. And I personally thought it was my way because this is what I'm very familiar with. I work at it. I'm proud of it. But for me, it's 100% the solar plexus, which was something I felt like, well, why would anybody pay me for that? That's stupid. That's too easy. That doesn't seem like I put enough effort into it, or, it's like a nothing. Yeah, it's the thing. It is the thing for me. So I did one that was with ajna, and also with the identity and with the spleen. So the ajna is that teaching, the identity or the G center, that is about your purpose, your direction, your sense of self and loving yourself. The spleen is more about well-being, vitality, your survival versus thrival, kind of concepts. So that we have those, I want to share with you what the difference is. So the very first one that I have up here, and I can make myself a little bit bigger, so I'll move myself here. Let's read it out loud together. What if your clarity wasn't up for debate? Some of us feel truth in our gut. Others see it in our minds. Some of us need to speak to hear it. But all of us know what happens when we override our knowing. Start with the part of you that's always known. That's your frequency. That's where your content begins to ring true. So there's a logical component to what we're having here. And so that's a clue that it's the ajna right there. It's, yes, we get that. Yes, some of us are feeling from our gut. Like, that's okay. The ajna doesn't mean that you don't recognize that you still might have intuition. It also says, some of us do better when we see from our minds. And some of us, we have to talk to others in order to have it out there, right? So, and think of these word choices like debate, like that's a mental thing, right? So I'm looking at some of the word choices in here, and that's how I know that it is ajna. And so, and there's this one phrase in here, which I'm going to highlight this particular sentence as we go through this. But all of us know what happens when we override our knowing. And you can very easily change know to thinking. All of us, know in our mind when we override. These are, I think of them also as the ajna as a little bit more masculine energy versus feminine energy. There's a little bit of a hardness, a little bit of opinion or factualness to them. Whether they're true or not doesn't really matter. That's how it kind of comes across. It's definitive, it's concise, it's to the point. We're making our argument. We're teaching somebody something. But we can take the same thing, the same concept, and let's see, I'll put it here so you can see both of these together. What if your clarity wasn't something to find or something to return to? Some of us feel it in our bones of who we are. Some of us drift until the right words call us home. But all of us know the ache of going against ourselves. Start where you've always been, not the noise, the name inside the silence. That's your frequency. That's where your voice gets its shape. This one sentence right here compared, like if we compare these two sentences, completely changes how I am thinking about this. So we all know what happens. You know what happens when you override it. Like I feel like I'm getting a lecture, right? Teacher point of view. Someone who's trying to convince me through my mind. But when I read, but all of us know the ache of going against ourselves, like that is identity driven right there, like going against what I feel who I am and how, we've all done things where we're like, oh, it's just not really me, but I guess I got to do it, sort of thing. And so this is a more identity driven. So it's the exact same thing. You can see so much of the structure is similar. It's just changing the angle in which you're approaching it. These will attract two different kinds of people. And for example, in my chart, I have both of these defined. I could easily attract people, but the one at the top, these are not my people. These are not the ones that I am looking to attract. I will get like this when you work with me. Sometimes I will teach you things. I will get very crystal clear so there's no confusion. But that's not how people come into my world. That's not the kind of people who want to come in and work with me. I know, because I led for over a year on LinkedIn with the ajna. That was a hard thing for me to quit. And I still sometimes slip back into it because it's so well practiced for me, but it's not my way. Now, the identity center is not my way. It could be, but it's not my way. I still have to kind of think about it. It's not my effortless strength. Let's just say that. And I have yet one more in here so you can see the exact same thing written yet one more way. So what if the clarity wasn't a conclusion, but a whisper you already heard? Some of us feel it in a flicker. It's here, then it's gone. Some of us ignore it until our body makes us listen. But all of us know the cost of living this way too long. Start with the signal that comes without thinking, the one you feel before you can name it. That's your frequency. That's where your truth starts breathing. So again, we have these lines, these same lines. See if we can get them all in here on the screen together. These. But all of us know what happens when we override our knowing. You know, I feel like my mom's telling me that. But all of us know the ache of going against ourselves. You know, I feel like that's my friend saying, you know what it's like when you're not yourself. But all of us know the cost of living this way too long. And to me, that shoots like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have burnout or I'm going to have a migraine. That's the first thing that I thought about. I was like, oh my gosh, if I do this, I'm going to get a migraine. And even this other line, I'm going to just highlight another one in here that really rings true. Maybe more on the bottom two, not so much on the top one here, but some of us need to speak it to hear it. So that sounds like teaching, coaching, mentorship, that sort of thing. Some of us drift until our words call us home. So that seems like I need to go and journal, but this is my own imagination, what I brings up for me. You know what? It'll be helpful if I go for a walk. And then if I sit down and I journal and I figure out what is really me, that's what that feels like. And then some of us ignore it until our body makes us listen. Again, I go straight to like, yep, that was me. I got the migraine. And that's how I knew I needed to start paying attention, right? With a good old burnout, you know, whether it's, you know, carpal tunnel syndrome or something else, you know, bad back or whatever it is. We've all have either known somebody to experience it or have experienced it ourselves. But this is what I'm talking about in terms of how you can lead with your presence. And the proof is already going to be there. You probably already have that. So this is like the thing at the very beginning that gets somebody to come in. And when they pick up that sweater and someone says, why did you pick that color? I don't know. I just thought it would look good on me. That is the energy that we're putting behind these. So it's the energy that you lead with, and we can work it right into your content. And it doesn't actually take that much shifting in order for it to happen.